as Alex Ovechkin and Wayne Simmons motion up to the crowd who were throwing some debris out onto the ice.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 sporting events ruined by morons.
That's awfully close to fan interference right there. The umpire's all over it.
Yes, it looked like Tony Martin caught a sign held by a spectator, and the crash went all the way across the road.
Fortunately, those bottles are plastic, but these Cleveland fans are irate.
For this list, we'll be looking at times sports events were stopped, marred, or were interfered with for stupid reasons, which in turn ruined it for everyone else in the process. Were any of your favorite sporting events ruined by idiots? Let us know your stories in the comments below. Now, let the idiocy begin. Number 10, Monday Night Football laser attack. These little gadgets can create some serious problems, not just for airplanes, but on the field too. During a Monday Night Football game from Mexico City, Houston Texans quarterback Brock Osweiler was often being harassed by a green light. Someone in attendance was using a high-powered laser to distract him.
Well, we appear to have an issue with laser pointers from the stands. You can see off the helmet there of Osweiler, somebody directing a laser. And we've seen it a couple of other times as well.
The game was stopped, with officials asking security to please find and eliminate the interference.
Perhaps that has something to do with the drop passes. Can't have that.
Unfortunately, the culprit was never found or reprimanded. After the game, Osweiler was noticeably upset regarding the incident.
I've never experienced, a laser being shined into my eyeball during a football game, let alone a professional football game in the National Football League. So I think that was certainly disappointing.
Did you see the laser pointers or the paper airplanes?
I have no idea about that.
Number 9, Utah Jazz false whistle. Sometimes fans just want to give their team a helping hand, but in doing so, they ruin the fairness of the game. During a game between the Utah Jazz and Golden State Warriors back in 2009, a whistle blow was heard, in turn stopping all action on the court.
CJ to a rolling Turiaf, and Oni will get.
However, that whistle did not come from a referee. Quickly realizing this, the Jazz players used the opportunity to slam an easy dunk. The Utah Jazz were clearly given an unfair advantage, but the point was awarded anyway.
And then Salvador is going to allow a steal and a dunk when every player stopped on the floor. Ron Nelson is beside himself.
It turns out the whistle came from a fan in the stands who was dressed up as a referee. He placed himself right behind the Golden State Warriors basket, and thanks to his outfit, he was pretty easy to find.
Good camera work from Dan Becker in the truck there. There's your end zone official, if you will.
Number 8, drunk cricket tackle. I think this guy is at the wrong game. Hey, rugby is in the other stadium. After a few drinks, an Australian fan attending a cricket game between Pakistan and Australia bolted onto the pitch and tackled Pakistan's Khalid Latif, outraging officials. He supposedly did it on a dare. The fan, whose name is David James Frazier, was escorted out by security, but the incident led to Pakistani sports minister demanding alcohol be removed from Australian cricket grounds. The WACA grounds were cleared, however, and Frazier was fined $9,000 on top of a ban for life. Number 7, Evander Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe's boxing fan man.
Well, Reg, we've seen the ring invaded before, but never from this guy.
Oh dear.
How on earth did he do it?
If there's any confusion as to how the fans felt about this stunt, just ask the Flying Fists shortly after he landed. Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe were boxing it out at Caesars Palace on the Las Vegas Strip. Out of nowhere, a person fell from the sky wearing a paraglider and a parachute.
Oh dear, there's only a parachutist hit the ropes. I do not believe this clown, where he has come from. Unreal.
As he touched the ring, the crowd and security descended on him, letting him know their displeasure with the unfolding events. The fight was delayed and the man was rushed to the hospital, later joking that despite it being a heavyweight fight, he was the only guy who got knocked out.
Well, what can we do? That's absolutely ridiculous.
Number 6, PAOK versus Olympiacos fan flares. Hell hath no fury like a football fan scorned. The atmosphere was tense during the 2016 match between PAOK and Olympiacos. The fans were riled up, just waiting for something to set them off. When PAOK midfielder Robert Mack was sent off after being tripped by an opposing player and no call was made, fans had had enough. Down 2-1 to Olympiacos, flares were lit all around the stadium, illuminating the sky in red. The flares were thrown onto the pitch, and with tension still mounting, the riot police were called onto the field. Officials and players were escorted off the pitch, and the match was suspended. By that point, it wasn't much of a match anymore. It was an impending war zone. Number 5. State of Origin's moment of no silence. Imagine trying to pay respect to someone while some intoxicated individuals decide to start shouting in the background. One of Australia's greatest distance runners, Ron Clark, had just passed away at 78 years old in 2015. At the start of a State of Origin 2 rugby game in Melbourne, the crowd was asked for a minute of silence to honor Clark's memory. But as the players tried to pay respects, some members of the crowd began jeering unrelated chants, angering fellow attendees who began shouting back. The disappointment and shock from the players was palpable. It was pure disrespect. Nothing more, nothing less.
Magnificent athlete and a beautiful person.
Number 4. NFL Snowball Game.
It is a partly sunny 36-degree day at the New Jersey Meadowlands. No snow in the forecast. Not exactly San Diego-style weather, although it could have been much worse.
Whenever snow comes to town, it can be tempting to throw a couple of snowballs. But this winter fight caused some serious trouble. It was 1995. The San Diego Chargers were up against the New York Giants, where a major snowstorm left the Giants stadium seats covered in snow. As a result, many fans decided to start throwing snowballs onto the field, distracting and hurting several people, including players, referees, coaches, and cameramen.
Chris, obviously anything on the move is a target, even our NBC cameraman.
Had to get hazard pay for the guys.
Very twisted sense of humor being shown here.
Despite the crowd being warned to stop, the chaos continued, resulting in the Giants almost being forced to forfeit the game.
I think the officials are telling the players to head back to the sideline. They are now threatening the fans with a forfeit, because the snowballs have continued to be thrown in the direction, for the most part, in the direction of the San Diego Chargers.
Although the Chargers went on to win and secured a spot in the playoffs, their victory was shadowed by this unfortunate event.
The Chargers go in at the halftime completely down, completely out of it. They fought their way back. It's an amazing story, and yet it's a story that's hard to get excited and to tell because of what's happened here in the stadium.
Number 3. Mommy enters the boxing ring. No mother wants to see their child beaten up, but this went from 0 to 100 really quick. In 1989, light heavyweight Brits Tony Wilson and Steve McCarthy competed in a boxing match. At one point during the match, McCarthy had the upper hand, knocking Wilson down and pinning him against the ropes. All of a sudden, a stiletto heel slammed into the back of McCarthy's head, resulting in a severe injury that required hospital treatment. It was Wilson's mother, Mina Wilson, who had blacked out, squeezed past security, and began attacking her son's opponent. A rematch was eventually scheduled, but this crazy occurrence certainly put a damper on the event. Number 2. PSV versus Ajax football smoke bomb. If this happened while we were in the stadium, we would definitely bolt for the exit. During a Netherlands football match between PSV and Ajax, everything halted as black smoke filled the stands. 13 smoke bombs were lit, the aftermath being visible for miles outside the stadium. The police believed it was part of a coordinated action to protest stadium bans. But it wasn't a popular decision, as the bombs were met with boos from the audience. The match did eventually continue, but 15 people were injured during the incident.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Malice at the Palace.
What a disgraceful showing from the Pistons fans here.
What started out as a scuffle turned into something far darker. During the conclusion of a regular season game where the Pacers dominated the Pistons back in 2004, Meta Sandiford Artest, known at the time as Ron Artest, committed a foul on Pistons player Ben Wallace, who then shoved Artest.
And Wallace did. Oh, Wallace right at Artest. This has potential to be serious if they don't get between.
The two got physical, but things got out of control when a fan added to the incident by throwing a drink at Artest, prompting him to climb into the stands. The arena exploded into chaos between players, fans, and security. Even after the fighting stopped and the players headed to the locker rooms, fans continued to throw drinks. In retrospect, it's clear that the entire incident could have been avoided had fans not escalated the situation further.
It seems that you're holding fans, you're saying fans are a bit more culpable here than the players. Is that correct?
I would say one fan is more culpable, and that being Mr. Green. He doesn't throw that cup. Artest doesn't go in the stands. The players don't go in the stands. Fans don't react to the players in the stands. And probably the whole melee dies on the court.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.